A rush of warmth surged to my fingertips, sending a prickle through them as I clutched the key card to my own hotel, watching my sister bar the entrance. My father's hearty laughter reverberated from within the opulent lobby of the Azure Palace, a lobby I had envisioned in the hotel I owned, yet there I stood, outside like an unwelcome peddler. "You can't honestly believe you're getting in," Vanessa sneered, her tone dripping with disdain. She smoothed her designer gown, a counterfeit I spotted instantly from the early drafts my designer friend had shown me over lunch last week, and rooted herself more firmly in the doorway. "This is the Azure Palace, Ellie. The tasting menu alone costs more than your monthly paycheck." If only she knew I'd crafted that menu alongside our Michelin-starred chef. "He's my father too," I replied, my voice calmer than I anticipated. The small envelope in my clutch, holding the deed to a vacation villa in Tuscany, one of the Azure Palace's most elite properties, suddenly felt weighty. "My name is Alina, I'm 38, and I'm a hospitality magnate. This is the tale of how I reclaimed my rightful place at a table I actually owned." "Mom and Dad were very clear," Vanessa went on, glancing at her reflection in the glass doors. "They only want accomplished people here, people who won't disgrace the family." The irony hit me like a slap. Just yesterday, I'd approved a $100 million expansion for the Azure Palace chain. Today, I was apparently too humiliating to step inside my own hotel. I stifled a laugh as the ridiculousness of it all washed over me. A decade ago, when I left the family's modest accounting firm to chase a career in hospitality, they'd practically disowned me. My father's words still echoed in my mind. "No daughter of mine will be a glorified server." So I let them believe what they wanted, let them think I was scraping by in restaurant management. In reality, I'd built Azure Hospitality Group into one of the nation's premier luxury hotel chains. The glorified server now owned 35 five-star hotels across 3 continents. "Alina," my mother's sharp voice sliced through my thoughts as she appeared behind Vanessa. "What are you doing here? We talked about this." No, they had talked about it. I'd received a text from her this morning. "Don't come to Dad's birthday. It's at the Azure Palace. You can't afford it. Don't embarrass us." "I brought a gift," I said softly, holding up the envelope. "Oh, what's that?" "A coupon for Olive Garden," Vanessa snickered. "Or did you scrape together enough tips for something from a discount store?" My mother's eyes narrowed at my understated clutch, a handcrafted Italian leather piece worth more than Vanessa's car. "Whatever it is, I'm sure your sister's gift is more fitting," she said. "She just made junior partner at her firm, you know." I knew. Just like I knew her firm was negotiating to lease office space in one of my buildings, a lease they desperately needed and couldn't quite afford. My real estate team had sent me the reports yesterday. "Vanessa's thriving," Mom continued, warming to her favorite subject. "New house in the suburbs, luxury car, a wonderful fiancé with such bright prospects." She paused, eyeing me critically. "And you, well, at least you're making an effort, I suppose." I thought of my penthouse overlooking Central Park, my collection of vintage sports cars, the private jet I'd flown in on that morning. "Yes, Mom," I said. "At least I'm trying." "Speaking of trying," Vanessa smirked, "that dress, couldn't you have put in some effort? This is the Azure Palace, not a greasy spoon." I smoothed my hand over the elegant black silk, tailored by one of Paris's most exclusive designers, the same one who'd refused Vanessa's commission last month, a tidbit my stylist shared during my recent fitting. "It's what I could manage," I said evenly. "Well, you're not coming in," Vanessa declared. "We've booked the entire VIP floor. It's for family and esteemed guests only." The VIP floor, my VIP floor, the one I'd redesigned last year, choosing every painting and crystal chandelier. "And who are these esteemed guests?" I asked, genuinely curious. "Oh, you wouldn't know them," my mother said with a dismissive wave. "The Andersons, who run that prominent law firm, the Blackwoods Old Wealth, you know. And Mr. Harrison from the bank, all very important people." I hid a smile. Thomas Anderson leased 3 of my properties. The Blackwoods had recently pleaded for a membership at my most exclusive resort. And Mr. Harrison. His bank was seeking a substantial loan from my investment group. "Right," I said. "Very important people." "Exactly," Vanessa said, clearly pleased I knew my place. "So you see why you can't be here. What would people think if they knew Dad's failure of a daughter was pouring their drinks?" "Vanessa," our mother chided gently, though her eyes gleamed with approval. Be kind. Alina made her choices. If she'd stayed with the family firm like you, things would be different. The family firm, now housed in a modest office in one of my buildings, perpetually late on rent. My property manager sent me monthly tenant reports, including their struggling business. Just then, my brother-in-law Gavin appeared, adjusting his tie. What's the holdup? Everyone's waiting. He spotted me, and his expression faltered. Alina, didn't expect you here. Clearly not, I replied. Gavin just made vice president at his bank, my mother announced proudly. Junior vice president, I corrected instinctively, knowing his precise role because his bank managed some of my smaller accounts. My financial team sent detailed reports on all our banking partners. Well, it's more impressive than whatever you're up to, Vanessa snapped. What is it now? Assistant manager at some fast food chain? I thought of the board meeting I'd left early that morning, discussing the acquisition of the very bank Gavin worked for. The documents were likely still on my desk in my private office upstairs. Something like that, I said. This is absurd, my mother declared. Alina, just leave, you're causing a scene. I'll tell your father you couldn't make it. Couldn't afford it, you mean? Vanessa added with a laugh. I looked past them, through the grand entrance of the hotel I'd built from scratch, at the marble floors I'd chosen, the chandeliers I'd commissioned, the artwork I'd curated. Every detail was mine. For a moment, I considered turning away, letting them have their party, letting them cling to their misconceptions. But then I recalled my first mentor's advice. Success is meaningless if you can't stand up for yourself. My jaw tightened and I squared my shoulders, a wave of calm resolve settling over me. My fingers stopped tingling. Actually, I said quietly, I think I'll stay. Before my mother could reply, the heavy glass doors swung open and Owen, my head of security, stepped out. He'd been with me since I acquired my first failing hotel 7 years ago, helping turn it into the cornerstone of the Azure chain. Is everything okay here, Madam CEO? His voice rang clear across the entrance. Your usual table is ready, and Chef Michel is holding the tasting menu for your approval. The silence that followed was absolute. Vanessa's jaw dropped, her bold lipstick suddenly clownish against her blanched face. My mother gripped the brass door handle for support. Owen, I said with a warm smile, perfect timing. My family was just explaining how I couldn't afford to dine here. Ma'am, he looked genuinely puzzled. But you own the entire hotel chain. Yes, I do. I turned to my stunned family. Shall we go in? I believe you've reserved the VIP floor, my VIP floor to be exact. Gavin found his voice first. This is some kind of prank. You're just a restaurant manager. Actually, Owen said professionally, Miss Alina is the founder and CEO of Azure Hospitality Group. She owns all 35 Azure Palace hotels worldwide, plus our resorts and restaurant chains. Vanessa's designer clutch slipped from her hands, clattering on the marble steps. But that's impossible. The Azure Palace is worth billions. Which makes your comment about the tasting menu rather amusing, I finished for her. I stepped past them into my hotel's lobby, where the staff immediately snapped to attention. Good evening, Miss Alina, my front desk manager called out. The executive suite is ready for your father's birthday celebration. Thank you, Rachel. I turned back to my family, still frozen in the doorway. Coming, they followed in silence, looking around as if seeing the hotel for the first time. Every staff member we passed greeted me by name, each noting my dress. Your gown, my mother managed, staring at my simple black dress with fresh eyes. Custom made in Paris, I said. Around $30,000, I think. I'd stopped checking price tags long ago. I led them to the private elevator, requiring a special key I pulled from my clutch. Unlike Vanessa's dress, which I believe is a knockoff, the real Valentino collection hasn't been released yet. I know because I attended the private showing last month. The elevator opened directly into the VIP lounge, where my father's birthday party was in full swing. The room fell silent as we entered. Alina, my father stood from the head table, his face a mix of shock and confusion. What are you doing here? Your mother said you couldn't afford it. I walked over to him. Happy birthday, Dad. I hope you don't mind me joining the party in my own hotel. Your hotel? Mr. Harrison from the bank stepped forward, relief spreading across his face. Miss Alina, I had no idea you were Robert Thompson's daughter. We've been trying to secure a meeting with you for months about that loan. Eleanor owns the Azure Palace, Thomas Anderson chimed in. My God, Robert, your daughter is the elusive CEO who's been snapping up prime real estate across the city. My father sank back into his chair, his face pale. All this time, we thought you were just a glorified server. Your words, I said, raising an eyebrow, from the day I left the family firm to follow my dreams in hospitality. But why didn't you tell us? My mother demanded, clutching her pearls like a lifeline. Would you have believed me? I asked quietly. You didn't believe in me 10 years ago when I needed your support. Why would I share my success with people who only value worth by the size of a bank account? I paused. Though by that measure, I suppose I'm worth more than everyone here combined. Vanessa collapsed into a chair, her face ashen. The villa in the south of France I tried to rent last summer, the one that was mysteriously unavailable. Mine, I confirmed. My property manager forwarded your reservation request, unaware of the connection. I glanced at Gavin. Just like the office building your firm is struggling to lease, Gavin, or the resort membership you're waitlisted for Mother. Eleanor, my father began, his voice unsteady. Save it, I said, raising a hand. I didn't reveal this to hurt you, though you've hurt me plenty over the years. I did it because I'm tired of hiding my success to protect your pride. I turned to the room. Please enjoy the party. Everything is on the house, my house. I started to walk away, then paused. Oh, and Dad, that envelope Vanessa wouldn't let me give you. It's the deed to a villa in Tuscany, one of my most exclusive properties. A birthday gift from your failure of a daughter. The next hour was surreal. People who'd ignored me at past family events suddenly wanted to talk business. The Blackwoods practically pleaded for that resort membership. Mr. Harrison cornered me about his bank's loan application. My family sat in stunned silence. Vanessa's fiancé vanished after learning her promised partnership depended on a lease she couldn't afford in my building. Gavin kept making calls, likely updating his resume. My mother alternated between tears and telling guests she'd always believed in my potential. As the night wound down, I found my father alone on the terrace, gazing at the city lights. Those buildings, he pointed to the skyline. How many do you own? Enough, I said, standing beside him, including the one housing the family firm. He nodded slowly. I was wrong about you, Eleanor. So terribly wrong. Yes, I agreed, you were. Can you ever forgive us? I considered his question, thinking of years of dismissal and condescension. Forgiveness isn't the issue, Dad. Respect is. You never respected my choices or believed in my abilities. You only respect success after it's proven. And now, I smiled faintly. Now you can tell people your daughter owns the Azure Palace. That should make for impressive dinner party talk. I left him there, heading to my private office on the top floor. Tomorrow, the family dynamic would change forever. Vanessa would no longer be the favored child. My mother would scramble to rewrite history, claiming she'd always supported me. Gavin's bank would likely face acquisition. But tonight, I'd finally taken my place at the table. A table I'd built, in a room I owned, under a roof I'd paid for. And that was worth more than any delayed family approval.